Name me a more popular man in Hull City than Big Oli McBurnie. The big man does it. He has a brilliant game in his home debut for Hull City, all capped off with the stoppage time winner. Hull City rectify what happened midweek in the Carabao Cup, and they come back. Well, they not come back, but they hold out and then grab the winning goal in extra time through big Oli McBurnie. Hello there and welcome back to the HullCityFanCentral YouTube channel, where today we're going to be discussing this fantastic win for the Tigers. First win of the season, first win in competitive action for Sergei Yakirovich, and a first win at the MKM Stadium, and that's probably the most important factor on this one. We've started the season off right at home. This home stadium that's past 4 seasons or so has been a losing ground for Hull City. I think it was last season 5 wins, season before that maybe 3 wins at home all season. It's a ground where we haven't done well, and it's our own ground. We play half our games there and we haven't been contributing with wins, points, anything of the likes. And to start off this season, it has so much optimism around it based on the actions that have been happening off the field with transfers and stuff, what we've seen in pre-season and what we've seen already so far this season with Sergei Yakirivich's Tigers. This is a brilliant start to sort of put to bed the fears, the woes that Hull City will be all right this season, but at home they'll be absolutely horrid. And it's a credit to Sergei Yakirivich. The signings that they made under the fee restrictions we're still yet to hear about the appeal process from, and of course big Oli McBurnie. I mean, we'll get into him in a second, but let's go straight into what happened in this game, because Hull City, I mean, they had the lead at 2 different points in this game before the winner was grabbed in the second half stoppage time, as Joe Gelhardt did put the Tigers ahead in the first 2 minutes with a near post effort before there was an equaliser from Lancashire of Oxford United as he took a volley. Matt Crooks then put Hull City back into the lead, which then was, of course, counteracted with Oxford in the first half, having Brannigan score another volley for Oxford United, of course, the visitors in this game. So in the first half, we had 4 goals already. It was an absolutely stellar first half. True end-to-end stuff, excitement play from Hull City. They were getting forwards. They were doing things right. They were getting into the right areas, attacking-wise. You saw McBurnie getting involved. I mean, on the FootMob app, he's credited down as both assists for the goals. I mean, it's just baffling. Oli McBurnie, free transfer, came to Hull City after all what we reported over the summer. It was not coming. He was going elsewhere. He was on the dotted line with other clubs. That's what I heard, and that's what other reporters were putting out. But he signed with Hull City, free transfer, and in his first 3 games, of course, one of them being in the cup, 2 goals and I think 3 assists. Is it now? It's baffling. A man who was brought in, Sergei Yakirivich said to him, "You're going to come in, you're going to score 15 goals this season for us," as a little side joke. Well, he's already got 2 so far. I wouldn't be shocked if he's a big difference maker. If he isn't already for the club, he could be the man at the end of the season that you're going, well, that's clearly our player of the season. That's clearly a guy who needs to be in the championship team of the season. And that's clearly a man that we maybe need to re-offer a new contract to even further cement the fact that we need to lock down Oli McBurnie for next season, whatever happens so far. But let's focus on the here and now. So as I said, coming into half-time, it was 2-2, an exciting first half worth of football. What Adrian Elijali has been wanting ever since taking over Hull City, exciting football, especially at home. And second half started off, and it looked a little bit more sloppy. I was probably going to come on to this report if it wasn't for the big Oli McBurnie goal in the stoppage time of the second half. And I was going to report on the fact that it's probably going to be the first time that we've seen Hull City have a bit of a lacklustre second half under Sergei Yakirivich. Yakirivich has been known to have maybe the little bit of a weaker first half, and then have that halftime team talk, bruise up on some tactics, and get the team out there and counteract onto what he has seen from the opposing team. And he may have done that in this game, and Oxford played a counterpart quite nicely into this one. You can credit Oxford for that. They played their second half quite nicely. They came back twice from being 1-0 down and 2-1 down, levelling up to 2-2, and they came into that second half maybe looking to either grab the cheeky goal, and they had a few good chances. Panda made some good saves, and there's some good blocks off the from the defensive line in that second half, but overall, yeah, maybe Hull City would have been unlucky to come away with the draw, and Oxford would have been definitely worthy to come away with the draw. But it was through Oli McBurnie which sort of changed that all around, as I say, through the goal. But in that second half, there was a little bit misplays. I mean, from both sides, but uncharacteristically from Hull City under Sergei Ikievich. As I said, a second half under Sergei Ikievich is so far pre-season against Coventry and against Wrexham in the Carabao Cup. They've been quite dominant from us, certainly if you compare them into the way that we've been looking in first halves compared to second half. And with that first half, he was maybe looking that second half's going to be even better, and you could maybe see Hull City grabbing a couple of goals in that second half, maybe a couple of goals that haven't been unanswered by Oxford, and go on to win the game 3-2, 4-2, 5-2 before the 90th minute strikes. Of course, we do eventually end up winning 3-2 through Oli McBurnie, as I say again. I mean, I can't stop saying the man's name. Stat-wise from Hull City, I mean, the stats clearly say it here on how much they sort of dominated the progressive play, and they, once again, it's a completely different sort of style of win from Hull City's different style of performance from the club, which we're going to see under Sergei Ikievich. We're going to see each game maybe a different take on the last, and this game, nearly 75% possession for Hull City, 19 shots compared to 11 from Oxford. Shots on target was 7 for Hull City, 6 for Oxford. I mean, coming into, I think, half-time, it was 5 apiece on a B6-5 in Oxford's favour, so you see that. Corner-wise, 10 for Hull City, 4 for Oxford, and then fouls, of course, 7 for Hull City and 8 for Oxford, 1 yellow card apiece, and it was a fun little note at the end of the game. Sergei Ikievich did get himself a yellow card, and funny enough, it's for kicking a ball onto the field towards the end of the game after, of course, McBurnie scored the winner. He kicked the ball onto the field, so there was 2 balls on the field, so it was slowed down the play a little bit and allow Hull City to hold out for them for the I think it was like 2.5 minutes or so towards the end of the game, and he eventually did get the yellow card from that. But quite funny that your manager kicking the ball onto the field and trying to slow down the play. I mean, anything to do to get the win, and that's what you like. It's a manager who's doing anything to grab the win for his squad, and whether it means him getting a yellow card now and Hull City seeing out to get the 3 points, so be it. I mean, he was laughing and joking afterwards, and that's what you love to see. So let's go through the team and what we saw from this game. Maybe not the best performance we've seen from Ivo Panda, of course, conceding the 2 goals, 2 volley efforts. You maybe don't discount him too much, but of course, Panda, good as ever, shot blocking, bar the 2 goals, we'll say, and of course, distribution play out from the back, commanding his area. That's something we've certainly seen a bit better from Panda this season so far. His commanding of the area, knowing when to come out and get them balls that maybe are falling a bit shy of the defensive line, and sort of commanding, as I say, commanding his area. That's something that Panda's definitely improved upon in his sort of summer pre-season work. Defensive line, Cody Drama, he had a nice performance down that right-hand side, once again cementing his factor that he is just working so hard to get that defensive attributes worked up and getting a bit forward when he needs to. We saw it against Wrexham in the Carabao Cup, how he can go on them runs down the right-hand side, and he didn't do too badly today. John Egan, of course, filling in for Semi Ajayi, who's gone down with the hamstring injury for a couple of weeks, 4 to 6 weeks we're hearing. John Egan didn't do too bad, of course. You maybe would prefer Semi Ajayi in that role as a bit more of a counterpart to Charlie Hughes, but Egan does a very, very good job, and we've seen that partnership there last season to see out the end stage of last season. And we'll go into Charlie Hughes now. He is the man for Hull City, isn't he, in that defensive line. He is deserving of that captain's armband, and he is deserving of staying at this club, maybe getting a contract improvement. As I say, these are options for Hull City to go down, and with him being interested, so many other clubs being interested in him, and he's saying that he wants to stay at the club. Well, that's a testament to that so far. But Charlie Hughes with a very good performance here. Ryan Giles, I mean, once again, it's rolling back the years for Ryan Giles. His performance down that left-hand side, his balls whipped into the box are going to create problems nearly every time. Every ball that was going into the box is either just getting caught by the keeper or a defensive player was made to make a line clearance, or an attacker was on it and then just fumbled or what have you. But Ryan Giles, very, very good. I think that he was the one that assisted, he was the one that assisted McBurnie's winger. I can't even speak anymore. He was the one that assisted the winner from Oli McBurnie with the fantastic ball into the box, which McBurnie just took down and then fired into the back of the net. Fantastically done. John Lundstrom, of course, played the full game. I mean, he's going to be a workhorse for Hull City. He was maybe in contentions to have maybe come off the field. Of course, played in the Carabao Cup game. And you could maybe say he's a player maybe getting on. We could maybe see him get a rotational factor. I think he's going to be one of the players that's going to play 99% of this season. He's going to be a workhorse for the squad and maybe go as a bit more of a silent, unnoticed player, playing that maybe deeper role to drop and make a back three lineup when we're in possession, and help, of course, defensively and also progressing the ball forwards. Similar to Matt Crooks. Matt Crooks certainly first half-wise looked in that very dominant role that we have seen him so far this season. Second half, maybe dropped off a little bit. Wasn't say that he had a bad performance, he just wasn't as prominent in a positional play for that second half, and then he was later subbed off. We'll go into the substitutes in a second. Joe Geldhart, I mean, he had his second home full debut, and it went off with a bang, didn't it? It's 2 minutes in and grabs a goal, and I'm very, very excited to see the partnership of Joe Geldhart and Oli McBurnie this season. I think that's going to be a partnership for the ages. Maybe a Bowen and Grzyski take two. I mean, it's on that road, isn't it? They've already been partnering up so far, and what Geldhart and McBurnie have been here a couple of weeks, if that. I mean, it's going to be fantastic to see these two play off each other, and then to see further down the line, Balloumi's going to be back in maybe next week at the earliest. Liam Miller, and then possible more additions into the squad. And of course, I'll go into some of the new signings like Akintola and Brandon Williams. Akintola, of course, played in this one. We'll talk about him in a second, but certainly looking positive for Hull City, and them two men spearheading that for the club. Casey Palmer looks okay in that sort of attacking role. He was substituted off in sort of the midway point of that second half. Looks okay. Maybe could have shown a bit more will and determination, a bit more of the Casey Palmer that we maybe saw against Wrexham in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday. But we'll see that. I think Casey Palmer's going to be one of them players where he's going to go through hot and cold patches, and he's going to be a rotational factor, and you're going to have maybe a good game here and then maybe a little bit of a performance that we saw today where it's not completely stinking out the place, but it's not the Casey Palmer that can win a game for you through that midfield. But certainly not a bad performance from Casey Palmer. Joe Lindahl, I mean, he's just looking like he's going to be an improvement every single game. He's going to be sticking to that Sergei Kievich factor of every game is going to be an improvement, because from the first game opening the season to his cameo appearance in the Carabao Cup to now, I mean, each game has been a development factor, and he's going to be a right pain for defensive lines in the Championship. It's certainly working on into this season, and as soon as he sort of gets going and hits the ground running fully, he is going to be a very dominant force down that left-hand side for Hull City. And I say, it's an improvement factor every game for him. I mean, what more is to say about Big Oli McBurnie other than he is the Jesus for Hull City? I mean, I'm just going to subtitle it that. So, substitute-wise, Regan Slater came on for Matt Crooks. Slater did okay in this sort of cameo role later on in the second half. In the 86th minute, he came on. So, okay in that sort of role. Didn't see too much of him, of course, coming a bit later on. Kyle Joseph came on, and he had two, I think, chances to grab goals. Maybe one of them was a bit more of a long-distance chance to grab the goal. The other one was a bit more of one where he was just, I think, he was either in two minds of whether to take the shot or whether to leave it and hoping that was someone to come on. He left it and there was no one there to come on for the ball. So yeah, Kyle Joseph maybe didn't have the best of time coming off the bench, but was there in the right position to maybe capitalise on two chances. Abu Kamara coming off the bench for Casey Palmer, and he did okay. I would say Abu Kamara, his strength in sort of physical aspect has improved so much this summer, and I think that's something that he maybe needs to work a little bit more into his game and to sort of play off the pace and the skill that he has down a wing and use that strength, and that he could really be a bit of a problem maker for some fullbacks in this league. Akintola, his Hull City debut, and he seems like one that Hull City may have found another diamond in the rough. Came off the bench and looked like he had some good chances for Hull City getting forwards, also contributing a little bit to the defensive lineup. He's certainly one that I'm going to be interested to watch his sort of time at Hull City go and see how he can develop throughout this season. Of course, as I say, a possible diamond in the rough there for Hull City. And then Akin Famewo, I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce his name at the moment, but he came on as a replacement for Oli McBurnie to see out them final couple of minutes after McBurnie's winner. I can't speak. But he came on, sort of showed up the defence. Didn't see too much of him, but still came on in this game. So some other new substitutes. We had, of course, Dillon Phillips. Brandon Williams, who of course a new signing, didn't get featured into this one, presumably due to the fact of building up his fitness, and you didn't really see an opportunity to sub out either Giles or Drama in this game. Pharrell Brown and Cathal McCarthy note, there is no Nathan Tinsdale. Apparently he's got a knee injury, I believe, so that's why he misses out this one. But I mean, you don't really need a Nathan Tinsdale. I mean, you can have a one-man team, and that one man being big Oli McBurnie. Of course, I'm still here in Turkey. I mean, it's nearly 2 a.m. here as I'm recording this one, so I'm going to get off to bed now off the back of a fantastic Hull City win to kickstart their campaign at home. And it's an unbeaten start to the season, 4 points from a possible 6 for the Tigers, as Sergei Akievich is leading a very promising Hull City side. To say, I am in Tokyo at the moment, but do not fret, the Hull City videos are still coming out as and when the news breaks for the club. Prediction videos, reaction videos like this, and all the news around Hull City is here on the HullCityFanCentral YouTube channel, so I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you like and subscribe to keep up to date with everything Hull City, and up the Tigers.